Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. My name is Martha Brown, and I am your volunteer with Dementia Friendly Fort Worth. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am your host for today's activities. Cookie Conversations is being brought to you today by Gail Snider, who loves being in the kitchen, and she is our executive director. Take it away, Gail.
It's so great to be back, and I'm so glad to hear that you all enjoyed what we made last week. So today we're doing something completely different than anything we've ever done. And I decided to do something that has a spring or Easter theme to it. So it's not exactly a cookie, but let me share my slides so you can see what we're doing.
Do you need me to make you co-host, dear?
I don't think so. I think it will let me.
Look at that, you're screen sharing.
All right, so we are making.
Those look really good, don't they?
Chocolate
Delicious.
egg
Oh my
bird
God,
nest treats.
Cute, cute.
That looks good.
Honey.
And I discovered that there's several alternates to this recipe. So this particular recipe calls for 2 cups of chow mein noodles. And I'm using packages like this of the chow mein noodles. And then it calls for milk chocolate chips, but we're using dark chocolate because everybody here loves dark chocolate better.
Yay.
And when I did my test recipe yesterday, I used butterscotch chips.
Oh.
Okay.
And then we're using some of the robin eggs. These are my absolute favorite candy, but I like the miniature ones the best. And then we're also using some mini Cadbury eggs.
Oh,
What? Never heard of Cadbury. Some what?
It's
Cadbury
chocolate on the inside.
Oh, really?
Stop my screen share so you can see a little bit what we're doing. This recipe does not use the oven. It does not have eggs, except candy eggs. So one of our best tools that we're going to use is this muffin pan. And when I did my test yesterday, I started out using muffin cups, and I looked for some fancy, pretty Easter ones, but I didn't find them. So we're actually going to line part of this muffin pan with the muffin cups. And I'm going to let you decide which way this works the best. For the other half, I'm going to use strips of wax paper instead of the muffin cups. And I'm going to put the strips of wax paper down inside the muffin tin. Already done a recipe with the butterscotch chips and the chocolate. So let me show you how that turned out.
that does look so cute already.
Oh my.
Oh,
Okay, so this is the empty bird nest. Before we add the chocolated stuff. This is one with the robin eggs. And these are the ones with the Cadbury eggs.
Mm.
And the
Wow.
Cadbury eggs are basically
Those look good,
chocolate
don't
on,
they?
chocolate on the inside with a hard candy shell on the outside. So this is, we're going to do this, but because I've already done the butterscotch, how many people really love butterscotch?
Do you like butterscotch?
3, 4,
Done.
5.
No.
Well, I used to love butterscotch flavor. When I was a kid, we used to eat butterscotch pudding a lot. I haven't
Mhm.
had butterscotch pudding in years. In fact, my sisters and I used to put faces on our faces with the butterscotch pudding and get into trouble. So, but I didn't particularly love the butterscotch flavor after I made them last night. So I'm going to change up the recipe and we're going to use peanut butter instead of the butterscotch.
Okay.
Hey.
And when I looked around at the recipes, several of them, an alternate recipe was peanut butter instead of butterscotch, or peanut butter and butterscotch and no chocolate. But we're going to do peanut butter and chocolate.
That sounds delicious.
All right.
It is.
Don't let Reese's know about that.
I bet you they couldn't hold a candle to what Gail does.
Probably not.
Nobody can.
All right,
Nobody
so
can.
we are going to start with a half a cup of peanut butter, and I'm using the Jif that has the honey in it. I like this better than the regular peanut butter now.
That's cool. I didn't know they made that.
Is it smooth or crunchy?
It's smooth, but you could use either one for this recipe. And this is a very simple recipe that really doesn't take very long.
I'm all for that.
I'm so glad you came up with these. This is so cute for Easter.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to put this into our clear Pyrex mixing bowl and we're going to heat this up to melt it. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to measure out 2 cups of our chow mein noodles. If I can find my scissors. This is one of those bags that if you don't use scissors, you're going to be sweeping the floor.
Always catch.
Anybody ever do that with a bag of chips or
Yes.
a
Oh,
bag
yeah.
of rice or beans?
Mm.
Stiff plastic bag, and if you try to tear it open, it's just going to go everywhere.
Those are the magic scissors.
Okay, so this is a little more than 2 cups, but we're going to go ahead and use the whole amount. Okay, so I have softened this peanut butter a little. Now it's nice and easy to stir. And then we're going to add the chocolate to it, and we need 1 cup of melted chocolate.
How many?
1 cup.
1 cup.
1 cup.
Loretta, if you'll send me your email address in the chat box, we can send the recipe to you.
Okay. We got it.
Okay.
So I'm going to melt this. I'm going to start with about 30 or 40 seconds because I don't want to burn it.
Here's your dad.
Gail,
Yes.
I think I've seen something similar to this, only it was with pretzel sticks.
Yes,
Oh.
the recipe said you could use pretzel sticks or you could use those potato sticks
Ooh.
or the chow mein noodles.
Yeah.
Or you could even use, the bags of miniature pretzels. Sometimes the bottom of the bag is broken.
Yeah.
You could use those as well. So one of the hardest parts was figuring out how to form them into the nest
Mhm.
without just breaking them all apart. So
Mhm.
we're going to talk about that when we get there. Okay, so the chocolate is starting to soften, but it's not ready yet because we want this completely melted. So I'm going to do another 40 seconds. Now, can anybody think of some kind of special spring or Easter dessert that you might have made or that you remember enjoying as a child?
Just colored Easter eggs.
Colored Easter eggs. Well, I love coconut And I used to always see the pictures where people would make those cakes that look like a bunny with coconut all over it.
Yeah, we made a lot of those in the bakery.
Yeah, I thought that looked so delicious, but I don't think I've actually ever had one. But I bet that was a big item at the bakery, Dusty.
Oh, yeah. Had them stacked up against the wall.
You could probably make those with your eyes closed.
Been many, many years.
Dusty has lots of stories to tell.
All right, so now our chocolate is melted. Can you all see that?
Mhm.
We can see it.
Okay, so I'm gonna add that to the peanut butter.
I love it already.
A chocolate in it, right?
What's that?
Got chocolate in it.
Yes.
That's why everybody loves it already.
I
Why
know,
everybody loves it already.
we
now-
know we're gonna love it.
These two together. And I'm doing this a little different than I did yesterday. I put the noodles in first and poured the stuff over it. So we'll see what works best. So you can see some of these noodles are about 1 inch long. Some of them are a little shorter. I'm gonna pour this in. I'm gonna stir it a little bit as we go so we get all of them coated. Break as you stir it. You just can't keep from breaking them, but that's
They'll still
okay.
taste the same.
They still taste the same. Okay, I have to tell you already. So what do you think we smell right now?
Chocolate,
Mm.
Chocolate, what
Reese's
else?
Pieces.
peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Okay, so I like the smell of this better than I did the butterscotch mixture last night. Large spoon. Grab a big spoon.
I just love the red accents in your kitchen.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna see if I can sit this where you can see it a little better. Can you see that better if I sit that up?
You tilt the camera
Yeah.
down just a touch.
Or move it just a little to your right.
How's that?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, so now I'm gonna take a large tablespoon and take a scoop of the chocolate mixture. And this looks like it needs more noodles because there's a lot of chocolate. So I'm actually gonna add just a few more noodles to it. All right. So now we're gonna take our spoon and get a good sized scoop of this and put it into the muffin cup. And then the hard part is trying to get it to look like a nest,
Mhm.
getting really messy. So I'm actually going to use a piece of wax paper, but you could also use like a Ziploc bag and try to just press it in the center so that it goes out to the side and leaves a well in the middle. See how messy my hands would get if I didn't use that?
Wow.
Do you know her?
Hmm?
Do you know her?
I don't.
You don't?
Loretta, my name is Gail. And I love to bake and make fancy desserts. What kind of desserts do you like to make?
Anything you fix, I like to eat.
Those cookies you sent us last week were heavenly.
Oh
They
my
Your
gosh.
word.
Oh, they were some of the best ever. Well, every week our cookies are best.
Loretta, she made chocolate cookies with white cream filling, cocoa cream filling, and dark chocolate cream filling. And we got a sample of each one.
Yeah, they were really good.
Really good. And they went fast, didn't they, gang?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I think you could safely say that, yeah.
Okay, so now you can see we have 3 there in the muffin tins.
Yeah.
And then when they've dried, they'll be easy to pop out because they're in the cups. So now I'm going to put some in the wax paper so we can see the difference.
Good.
It seems like they would be a little easier to work with if the noodles were just a little bit shorter.
Seriously, would it be worth your time to take the bag and break them each in half?
If I were going to do that, I probably would just take this bag and crush it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That
what
would
I would
work.
do. And we might do that if when we stir up the next ones, that we might do that. Okay, so now you can see that I have 2 in the wax paper,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I'm going to show you how each of these come out with a pan that I already have ready. Okay.
Okay.
I love it that you do these in stages so we can see your progress.
Hey, when is Easter this year? What's the date?
It's April the 4th.
April 4th. Thank you.
So it's not this Sunday, but it's next Sunday.
Okay.
I have to be really mindful of that because that's also my husband's birthday.
Oh.
April the 4th. Okay, so this is the pan that I did last night with the wax paper, and it looks a little messy, but all I have to do is lift the sides of the wax paper, and then I can peel the wax paper from around it so that all that we have is the nest left.
Nice.
So I'll add it to our tray. And then these are the ones that I did in the muffin cups yesterday. The muffin cup looks a little messy, but I thought it might make it easier to mail these. So when
Okay.
you get them in the mail, this might contain your chocolate if it gets a little too warm, where when I put this in the bag may be full of chocolate and you might not be able to get the chocolate out. But we're going to see how it works.
Yeah, you cut the bag open and lick it. You'll get it out.
Then you can just peel this away.
Now, Gail, do you let it dry? Do you let it dry in room temperature in the refrigerator?
Last night, I actually put them in the refrigerator to get it a good hard set.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll do that with these as well. So when you receive your package, if it's warm, I would suggest that you stick them in the refrigerator before you even open the bags, that it'll cause that chocolate to harden up again. And then if you have crumbles of chocolate left in your little bag, you can put that over ice cream later.
That's right.
He likes to do.
Yeah.
Good
So
idea.
now on the picture that I showed you, they actually used some frosting to put eyes and a bird beak
It's alive and well.
on the little eggs to make it look like baby birds.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So I haven't done that with these. I was gonna prep that frosting this morning and I didn't get that done.
That's all right, Gail.
Well, it's more natural to have just plain eggs in a nest anyway.
Well, that's kind of what I thought, but that picture did look cute. I can
Yeah.
put it back up again so you can see it. See if you think ours look as good as theirs.
Hmm.
But that,
It already does look as good as
Yours
theirs.
better. Yours looks better than theirs.
Yeah.
well, you're too, whoop, I went the wrong way. That was last week's.
You have to share your screen again.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Janine. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
they're so cute.
So it does look like maybe they broke up their noodles a little bit because those don't look as long as these.
Uh-huh.
This one,
Yours look better because they're dark chocolate.
Yes. Yours looks much better.
Yeah.
Those are so cute.
They are.
so this one, you can see the noodles look a little longer than that, but it does
Mhm.
look like a nest.
Sure.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yes.
And you know, birds make nests out of anything and they look crazy. So even
They
if
do.
they're bird nests.
So I thought that would be something fun and different to do that
Oh.
doesn't require using the oven or the mixer. It just requires getting chocolate on your hands.
Yes. Oh, my.
Oh,
dear.
Oh, my.
Oh dear. Because if you're making these at home, of course, you can lick your fingers while you're doing it. But
Yeah.
That's right.
since I'm making it for an audience, I don't lick my fingers.
Well, we appreciate that.
When we're looking.
When you're looking.
I love it. When you look at it.
So did anybody grow up in a family where you always had a big Easter lunch on Easter Sunday?
We
Yep.
Did?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a big Easter dinner.
When my kids were in, I guess, grade school and middle school, our church did a big Easter thing on Saturday. And they had a fancy Easter breakfast, and all the families with kids came for breakfast. And then they did the Easter egg hunt out on the grounds of the church. And of course, they had prizes for every category. And sometimes when it would rain, they would have to do the Easter egg hunts indoors.
Mhm.
But when my kids were really little, like the first year we were going to go to a community Easter egg hunt, I was so excited. And we went to the park where the church was doing one of those where they just throw out thousands of eggs on the ball fields.
Mhm.
Had everybody broken up into age groups. And my daughter, I don't think she was barely 2 maybe. And so when they said, ready, set, go, and told everybody to go through the field, everybody was just running ahead. And my daughter just started to cry. And she was crying, and I was trying to get her to catch up, and all she would do was cry. And we came out with 1 egg in her
Well,
mouth.
well,
Needless to say, my kids never participated in egg hunts after that, except maybe to be a volunteer when they got older.
yeah, I have a story like that also.
Do you? Let's hear it.
We always met at my grandparents' house. I had
Uh-huh.
5 cousins, 5 cousins plus me make 6 cousins.
Uh-huh.
And I was the oldest one. And, I was always one to go out and collect my eggs. And then when my brother got old enough, he went out and collected his eggs, and he came back and he started stomping on everybody else's eggs. So,
Oh, well, that's
so
no
he got
fun.
in trouble. He got in trouble a lot. And then when my youngest male cousin got old enough, he continued the tradition of stomping on Easter eggs. So we still
That's
went
just
on knowing
not
that
nice.
there'd be collateral damage. We still had a good time.
Most of the time now, everybody uses plastic eggs filled
Yeah.
with candy. Most
Mhm.
people use the dye kits. In fact, I'm surprised they still sell as many of those at the grocery store
Yeah, yeah.
as they used to. They still have them, but that was always fun to dye the eggs. But
Yeah.
kind of dyeing the eggs is also kind of like decorating sugar cookies. You have to
Mhm.
be patient if you want them to be fancy.
That's right.
Mhm.
And I saw a video the other day of somebody that used old silk ties
Oh,
to dye the eggs, and the eggs came out with the pattern that was on the tie.
Wow.
Oh
Nice.
my.
So I
All
thought
I-
that was kind of interesting.
All I remember is that vinegar smell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about
What I
finding the
remember,
eggs and not finding one for several weeks?
You.
No,
yeah,
never had that
what I
problem.
started to say, what I remember is like hiding the eggs so I'd have some to eat later, and then they smelled up the place.
My youngest daughter, Sarah, when she was much smaller, I would say we were at a church and they had in kind of a enclosed area for the kids outside, and they did an Easter egg hunt, and she went out there and she wouldn't quit, and she hunted and hunted and hunted. Even after all the others were done, she came up with a golf ball.
That's a surprise Easter egg.
Yeah.
Just can't eat
That's a
that.
cute story,
Oh.
Steve.
I need that, but she got the prize.
Yeah.
And she thought that was the prize, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was great.
That one was hard to crack.
Yeah.
So, Dusty, when you were at the bakery, what was the other most common dessert that people would order at Easter or in spring?
I don't remember.
Oh,
I know we made a lot. Well, we made the dipped cookies too. Yeah, the bunny
Okay.
shapes and
Oh,
dip
right.
them,
Okay.
dip them, and then put the eyes and the nose and stuff on them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
lots of labor in that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, Loretta, did you have a family favorite dessert that your family would order for Easter?
Did you?
Mhm.
Did you eat a lot of desserts for Easter, Loretta?
Mhm. Used to.
You used to? What did you used to eat?
I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever.
Whatever they had.
Whatever they had. What do you think the most common Easter meal is?
Oh, my family was not common at all.
Ham.
Ham? Ham with pineapple.
hot roast.
Pot roast?
We had
Well-
we had a lot of different things. Chicken, noodle, not soup kind of. Only it was kind of a bit more like
Like
not
chicken
thicker than soup.
Or chicken and
Stew.
noodles?
Stew, yeah.
Okay.
And we had fried chicken. I don't recall when we met our grandparents if we ever had ham. I don't recall ham.
Mhm.
I recall having ham after we moved away from where they lived, and we were just our family of four. But
Right, right. Well,
I guess
my
the most appropriate thing might be rabbit stew.
We
stew.
we actually had rabbits.
Yeah,
I
I
would
had a
buy
couple.
a rabbit and then I would cook it. I'd find a recipe and cook it.
Yeah, I had a couple uncles that went rabbit hunting every once in a while, and we had rabbit stew too.
Yeah.
I have eaten rabbit. I've spit out buckshot.
That and lamb is also very good.
Oh, yes, lamb.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
My dad always wanted to have hot cross buns on Easter morning.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we made a lot of hot cross buns. I forgot about that.
So, Yetta, how did you prepare the lamb?
I have a recipe where I don't know the word. I think it's called spike it with garlic. Cut garlic into pieces and put it into the meat, and then wrap it in bacon, and then brown it, and then you cook it for 5-6 hours, and it just absolutely falls apart. It's so good.
If it's
So
got bacon, everything's good
kind of
with
like a
bacon.
roast.
Yeah. Yes. And then boil, and then you put
Garlic.
potatoes in as well, so that it cooks with potatoes and I think carrots. I
Yeah.
don't remember, but
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah,
a while
that's
since I
usually
made
how
it.
I do a pot roast.
Yeah.
If you ever cook that again, I'd love to come to your house, and I don't even eat meat. I would be a meat eater for one day for that.
To have lamb.
Yes, lamb with bacon and potatoes,
And garlic.
garlic. Yeah.
Garlic, yes.
Best part's the garlic.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Have
Bacon sounds
mint
pretty
jelly
good.
with it.
Now, don't forget, it's fleece as white as snow. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.
Mhm.
That's true.
That's right.
And she cried when they had lamb for supper.
Easter was a big deal for me to go visit my grandmother because I got to see my cousins. And of course, all of the aunts and uncles got to visit, and none of us lived in the same town. So going out to grandmother's farm for Easter was always a big treat.
Yeah.
Did you grow up, Martha?
Kind of all over, from Tennessee to Texas.
From Tennessee to Texas.
My grandmother's farm was in southeast Missouri, and we used to have egg hunts too.
Whereabouts in southeast Missouri, Martha?
A little town called Steele, which was next door to Cooter. I mean,
I've heard of Cooter.
Good. Okay. Cooter was where I was brought home to from the hospital as a newborn. Yes.
It's a what?
Was
He's a
that,
newborn.
As a
Martha.
newborn.
Martha, what state was it?
Missouri.
Missouri.
In the boot.
Easter was about the only time that we gathered as a big family because Christmas time in North Dakota, a lot of travel was restricted, but by Easter time, we could all travel.
Yeah.
And so we'd all gather together as, extended family during that time.
I guess that's why we did Easter too, Steve. That's probably smart.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. And it's kind of like everybody's so excited because winter is over and spring is coming,
Yeah.
and everybody can get together again.
Yep.
Kind of like what we're experiencing now with wanting to be able to be together again after all of the restrictions we've had.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're
We're gonna come to your house when we get do it, Gail, so you can cook for us.
John-
Actually, we'll potluck. We'll potluck together.
Potluck.
Yeah.
Well,
Lots of luck.
that sounds like a fun outing.
It absolutely does.
So I thought while we were chatting, I would put together a few more nests. And I forgot to show you what the recipe says to do to put the eggs in the nest.
So are those the robin eggs?
These are the robin eggs.
Are they what's inside of them?
It's like a malted milk ball.
Okay.
Oh, Lordy, my favorites.
Yeah,
Yes.
favorite.
Yes.
These are the big ones, and I like the miniature ones better.
Ah.
But it actually says to take a little bit of, to reserve a little bit of the chocolate and a little bit of the chocolate on the back of it
Mm-hmm.
and stick it in the nest.
Oh.
Chocolate glue.
Yeah.
Kind of
Chocolate.
like using the chocolate as glue.
Paulette is right. And those are so colorful.
Quick, make a note of that. I was right. Quick, mark that down. I don't happen very often.
Yeah, that's the other thing I like about the robin eggs too, is they're a little more colorful than the Cadbury eggs, and I'll show you. So the Cadbury eggs are milk chocolate with a crisp sugar shell, a little bit smaller.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But this is like solid chocolate on the inside.
But they actually look like robin eggs. Aren't robin eggs that color blue?
That color blue, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they're both Cadbury products, aren't they?
No, robin
Oh,
eggs are a Whopper product,
okay.
but the Cadbury egg is just chocolate
Okay.
inside, but it's milk chocolate. It's not dark chocolate.
Just chocolate.
It's just chocolate.
Just chocolate.
It'll work.
Do they make dark chocolate Cadbury eggs?
You know, I don't know. I kind of doubt it.
I like the advertisements they have on TV about the animals that are trying out to be the Cadbury bunny.
Yeah, I know.
They have some really cute stuff.
I have another question for everybody about Easter. Did anybody get the pre-made Easter baskets from your family with the green? Well, even the ones I got that my mother made for me had that green plastic grass in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
We had baskets that got reused every year until I was an adult.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved my Easter basket.
Yes.
Of course, nowadays it's not just green. You can get all colors for their
Yeah,
grass.
that's kind of wrong.
Yes.
Okay, so I added some of the mini, I happen to have some of the mini robin eggs. I put some of the mini ones in this one.
Oh, nice.
You are such fun, Gail.
Yes.
That's one prolific bird.
Well, you know, I think earlier at the beginning of all of the problems with getting foods in the grocery stores, we talked about the difficulty of getting eggs.
Yes.
And we started getting our eggs from an individual who raises chickens and sells their eggs. And the eggs aren't always all brown or all white. Sometimes they're pale blue. Sometimes they're kind of peachy colored.
Yeah, depends on what kind of chickens they are.
Yeah. So.
And actually, eggs like that usually last longer because it's only when you refrigerate them that they go bad.
Yes, and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And my son has traveled abroad to different countries, and he says the United States is the only place that refrigerates their eggs.
Because we're in Thailand, you got to market by big plats of eggs just sitting out there, and they never went bad, you know. So, and I had a friend that raised that had hens, you know, and sold eggs, and she said that was the problem. If you didn't refrigerate them, they lasted a lot longer.
Interesting.
Boy, y'all taught me something today. I'd never heard that. Thank you.
I think it has something to do with the coating that's on the outside. Once that gets washed off.
Well, she still washes them, but not as, I don't think as much as they do, you know, when they do the store, you know.
Right.
Make sure all of the other stuff is off, you know, the stuff we don't want on the outside the egg, but not.
I don't think I've ever had a dozen eggs that ever went bad.
Yeah, they don't scrub, you know, like they do in the plants.
Well, the ones that I get from the natural grower not washed off at all.
Okay.
So they still have some of the stuff you don't
Yeah,
want.
in Thailand, they weren't, you know, always clean, you know.
Where you headed, Loretta?
Even with duck eggs and things like that, you know, we had to wash them off.
Yeah. Loretta, what were you saying?
Seems like she's getting a little uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
I got a quick question.
Well, it's okay to get up and walk around and come back if you want.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna just stand up for a while. I can't
All right.
go back to
You're back
something.
through. All right.
I understand about that back business.
Yeah, can't sit down for too long. Can't stand up for too long.
Oh, there's that.
I have to leave. I
Okay.
have to
All
leave.
right.
But see you
Yetta.
tomorrow.
Okay.
See you.
Bye-bye.
See you later, Yetta.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Damon Carter
bye.
with hats.
Quick question. If I
That's
buy
right.
the eggs in the grocery store and they're cold and refrigerated, when I bring them home, do I have to keep them refrigerated or can I leave them out?
You
think you have to
refrigerate 'em.
They have to refrigerate. Okay.
What is that?
Once they've been refrigerated, they have to stay refrigerated until you use them.
That's what I figured.
It's kind of like those jars that say refrigerate after opening.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's refrigerate after bringing home.
It's pretty.
Gail, that is so much work intensive, but those are cute as a button.
Yes, they are.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Gail.
It's not the most intense thing we've done.
No, I think the yo-yos were probably the most intensive, wouldn't you say?
Maybe, but those were really good.
Those
Yes, they
were
were.
really good.
Or
I don't remember that.
I sent those, John, those are the ones that had the blueberry filling and the cranberry filling.
yeah.
Sounds good.
They were
They
sandwich.
were delicious.
Oh,
Yeah,
my-
they were small too. They weren't real big.
Yeah,
They were real
Only about
small.
that big around.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had sent my older sister a sample of those, and a couple of weeks later, she said, "I need another sample of the yo-yos."
Hey, when did Gail ever make anything that wasn't totally delicious?
I've never known it.
Not since we've been together. I know
This
that.
weekend, I did.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to tell us about it?
Sunday, we had breakfast for lunch. So after we came home from church, I made breakfast. And I recently looked up the copycat recipe for the Waffle House waffles, because they're different from ones that you normally make at home or ones that you get at other places. And I have made the recipe before, but I got sidetracked and I forgot to put the butter and the shortening in the recipe.
Oh, no.
Until we had already cooked all but one of the waffles.
Oh.
They were still edible, but they weren't crunchy and they didn't want to get done.
Yeah, yeah.
They were kind of floppy.
Breakfast mush.
Kind of floppy. There was no fat in there to make it crisp up. So when we were eating, my son told my husband, "Those are fat-free waffles."
That's right. They are. They're good for you.
And he said, "Well, what's in it?" And my son said, "Flour and sugar, but there's no fat. There was no butter and there was no oil or shortening in it." So they were edible once you put the syrup and the liquid butter on it. But next time I have to make sure I get the oil product in there to make it better. So I finished this tray.
Oh, those are so sweet.
Oh, lovely.
Adorable.
And I'll stick these in the refrigerator so that it will set the chocolate. And these smell like peanut butter. And the others that I made yesterday, they're butterscotch.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'll try to make stickers so you'll know which is which whenever you open them, but you'll probably be able to smell the difference too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I came to the kitchen this morning, I could still smell butterscotch.
You sure you had butter there?
What's
And it
that?
Are you sure you had butter there or it wasn't just scotch?
Well, since we used a package like this, it was butterscotch. And this says the ingredients is sugar, fractionated palm kernel oil. Does anybody know what that means?
Palm oil. Yeah, it hardens your arteries, but it's good.
That probably means it's processed palm oil.
Oil, milk, non-fat milk, 2% or less of hydrogenated palm oil, soy lecithin, butter, natural and artificial flavors, yellow 6 and yellow 5, and caramel color and corn syrup, and blue 2, and acetic acid.
Basically sugar.
So
Yeah, sugar.
Fractionalize that.
Bill,
I don't mean
just
it's
so you know, oh, it's upside down. There's not really any scotch in this.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
We got a smile out of Miss Loretta. That's great.
All right. Martha, why don't you
Go ahead.
tell us what's up for tomorrow?
I can certainly do that. As long as I touch all the right buttons, you know. Tomorrow we have Peggy Spear coming to us from the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. She's going to talk about hats. My guess is she's going to talk about Easter bonnets. What do y'all think?
That would be fun.
That should be part of it, at least, yes.
Oh, yeah. She brings,
And remember, we're in Texas. There's got to be a cowboy hat.
you know, there probably will be if I know Miss Peggy.
will she sing Easter?
Yeah.
You gonna sing Easter parade for us in your Easter bonnet?
That's right.
I wanted to check with everybody and see if anyone has any news they want to share or anything they want to tell the group before we go.
I got my second shot Friday.
Oh,
Very good.
Congratulations.
John and I got our first shots on Saturday.
hallelujah.
Got ours done a while back.
Thanks to Martha.
Well,
Yes.
actually, thanks to Gail. Gail gave me the information and I passed it along to Dusty and Janine and John. So
Good.
it's a group effort. God bless us, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have any reaction, Dusty?
No,
Good.
the lady that I went with, she felt kind of bad part of the second day, but after that, even by night, she was feeling all right.
Good.
My arm was a little bit sore for a couple of days, but nothing terrible.
Yeah.
What about you and John?
But
John didn't have any effects at all. My arm hurt bad for the first day, but and when I woke up the next day, it was a little sore, but in a few hours it was gone completely. So
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, Miss.
Go ahead, Gail.
before everybody starts to drop off, I would like to get everybody's opinion on which way I should do the rest of the nest.
Just any way you want to.
In the muffin wrappers or plain?
Muffin wrappers.
Yeah, muffin wrappers are better for
Shipping those, you're
transportation.
going to need the muffin wrapper.
What's that?
The
Since
muffin
you're going to
wrappers
mail
are
them,
better.
Yeah.
I think that needs the stability of the wrapper.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So then the ones that aren't in the wrapper, I should set them in a nice clean wrapper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good deal.
That's why if they melt, they're all together instead of stuck.
See, that's perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah.
actually, it would be, well, it's double trouble for you though. But you could do them in the wax paper and then put them in the wrappers.
Well, that was my thought.
Yeah.
I thought the muffin cups looked a little messy.
I am not above licking the wax paper to get the good.
Why, look it, I'll just eat it with the chocolate on it.
And if I were making if
You.
I were having a fancy party,
Uh-huh.
I would make them in the wax paper and put them in a clean muffin
Yeah.
tin.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of fancy parties, Gail, that reminds me of your new grandson. What news do you have of Ledger?
I got to hold him yesterday for the longest that I have because my daughter brought him to a funeral that we had to attend for a very dear friend. And so I got to hold him during the whole funeral. And it was a little over an hour long.
I
So
bet you love that.
And she kept saying, do I need to take him out? And I'm like, no.
No, no, not at all.
God bless Ledger Allen.
So let me see. I do have a couple of pictures I took yesterday.
Let me get you back on speaker
Well,
view.
I'm going to have to share it from my phone because I don't have it on my computer yet.
Okay. You can just hold it up to the camera. I've got you on. Oh,
You see
he's
that?
so cute and
Oh my
raggedy.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Ledger Allen.
What age is he?
He's
What-
less than 3 weeks old.
She was very tired. She got
Tired.
yeah.
And then here's another picture. This one's a little older. This is from last week.
And what is his name?
His name is Ledger
Ledger.
Allen.
Ledger Allen.
Isn't that something?
Oh,
Wow.
what a great name.
Mm-hmm. Strong.
Yeah.
So,
How did they pick that name?
you know, they didn't pick his name until about 3 weeks before he was born.
They were grasping at straws.
They couldn't make up their mind. They didn't want a name that would get abbreviated by everyone else. So it had to be a name that couldn't be shortened. And they didn't want a name that he would go by his middle name because both of them were forced by their parents to go by their middle name.
Mm.
And they didn't like that. And it couldn't be like his brother's name is Houston. So people think he's named after a city, but he's really named after a grandfather. So when they first started talking about names, my husband said, well, you could name him Texarkana, or you could name him Antonio, or
Oklahoma City.
they didn't think that was very funny. So
Of course.
it took them a while to decide. But we're excited because in my family and in my daughter's husband's family, there hasn't been 2 boys together in a long time.
Nice.
So like I come from a group of four girls, and all of our family friends used to call us the girls. And whenever we go somewhere, they'll say, well, where are the other girls? And that was just a name that, because my grandparents were pastors. And so everybody knew us as the girls.
The girls.
And then my sisters, all of us had a boy first. And then I have 2, and my second one's a girl. And my youngest sister has 2, and her second one's a girl. So nobody had 2 boys. And then me and my youngest sister are the only ones who have grandkids. And her son and his wife had a girl and a boy. And now we have 2 boys, so it's the boys.
You know, there was a famous actor who died young who played the Joker in the Batman series called Heath Ledger.
Yes.
And Ledger, it says here, Ledger is traced back to an anglicized version of the name Ledger or Saint Ledger.
Who would have thought that was a saint name?
What'd you say, Martha?
With you guys, I said, who would have thought that was the name of a saint?
That's right.
Go figure.
To say where that a saint was from?
I'll just look and I'll find out.
I always learn things from you folks. You make me feel like I'm not alone. That's wonderful.
Oh, hey, if you don't learn something new, it's a wasted day. So that'll cover any mistake you ever make. Say, oh, I just learned something new. I haven't wasted my day, even if I did mess up. Don't say that part out loud.
Yeah.
No, when I first met my husband, he would always kind of tease me about being an only child. And so one day I finally got tired of it, and I said, hey, look, your mother had to keep trying. My mother had one and called it quits because she found perfection.
Go Paulette. Did you find that, Don?
He never
Well, yeah, I found
being an only child, let me tell you.
What did
Hey,
you
I found out that Saint Ledger is related to a bishop in the year 651, and he became an abbot at Maximus Abbey, where he introduced the rule of Saint Benedict, and so he was like the bishop to the queen at the time. So
cool. He's
Interesting.
next door to royalty. Thank you.
There's also a place called Saint Ledger in Belgium.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to ask my daughter if she knows any of that.
Well, that'll give you something to talk about next time you get to hold the baby.
Yep.
That's so sweet. Well, we're right at 11:30, folks, so I guess we ought to say goodbye.
Already?
I have enjoyed
Say
this.
goodbye, Loretta.
Oh, this is
You want to say goodbye?
Bye, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gail.
Nice to see everybody.
It was nice to meet
Loretta,
you.
say
I hope
bye.
you'll join us again.
Yeah. Yes.
Sure will.
Please come back.
All right.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good time.
Bye-bye.
Come and see us again.